Good afternoon, everyone. So today we're going to present the standard test methods for time of setting of hydraulic cement with Vicat needle.
So now let's proceed to the objectives. As you can see on the PowerPoint presentation, we have three main objectives. The first one is to determine the setting time of hydraulic cement, including its initial and final time setting. But to obtain the first objective, using of the Vicat needle apparatus is required. The next one objective is students should perform the method A, known as the reference test method. By doing so, students should also make use of operated Vicat apparatus. Moreover, in line to the second objective, we also involve the method B for testing by making use of Vicat machine. And then for the last objective for this report, is to determine the right time duration for mixing, transporting, placing, and compacting the concrete effectively.
Introduction. Vicat needle is used to determine the consistency and initial and final time to set of hydraulic cement or any type of cement we use for construction. Why is it important for us to understand why we perform this type of test? We perform this test since it helps us to understand the setting time of concrete or cement and also to inform the person responsible when it comes to decision making, which includes the duration of mix of the concrete cement, the duration of transport, and where to place and condense the concrete properly on the construction area.
Standard test method for time of setting of hydraulic cement by Vicat needle. Here are the instruments used. First is the Vicat apparatus. The Vicat apparatus for this test method shall have a movable rod of mass 300 positive negative 0.5 grams. The end of the rod used for measuring penetration shall have a removable needle with a diameter of 1.00 positive negative 0.05 mm and length no less than 50 millimeters. Reference masses and devices for determining mass is also needed, conforming to the requirements of specifications C1005. Next is the glass graduates. We need 200 or 250 ml capacity and conforming to the requirements of specification C1005. Next is a flat trowel, having a sharpened straight-edged steel blade 100 to 150 millimeters in length. Next is the conical ring made of a rigid, non-corroding, non-absorbent material and shall have a height of 40 positive negative 1 mm, an inside diameter at the bottom of 70 positive negative 3 mm, and an inside diameter at the top of 60 positive negative 3 mm. Next is the mixer, bowl, and paddle, an electrically driven mechanical mixer of the type equipped with paddle and mixing bowl, as specified in Practice 305. Next is the automatic Vicat apparatus, provides a completely automatic method for determining the initial and final setting time of cements or mortar pastes. The apparatus shall be equipped essentially with a standard Vicat needle. The needle shall have 1.0 positive negative 0.05 mm diameter and have a length of at least 50 mm. And lastly is the specimen mold for method B. It is where the cement paste is held in a conical ring.
In this section, we will be having two formulas to obtain data and results. These two formulas will be used to determine the initial and final time setting of hydraulic cement using Vicat needle apparatus. For initial setting time, we have Ti is equals to quantity H minus E all over C minus D multiplied to the quantity of C minus 25 plus E, wherein Ti is the initial setting time, H is for the time in minutes of first penetration less than 25 mm, then E serves as the time in minutes of last penetration greater than 25 mm, then C will be the penetration reading at time E, and lastly the D that will serve as the penetration reading at time H. In this formula, please take note that 25 is constant. For final setting time, we should comply to this formula. Tf equals quantity 90 plus the quantity of 1/2 multiplied by the Ti, wherein Tf is the final setting time and Ti is the initial setting time. These two formulas will be used to accomplish the data and results.
Now we go to the data and results. In this section, the students gathered all the penetration tests, thus observed the time when a penetration of 25 mm is obtained. More so, to collect accurate and precise data, students made a remark for every 15 minutes to distinguish the initial and final time setting of the cement. In Trial 1, a needle penetration of 28 mm is obtained in a time of 120 minutes. In Trial 2, a needle penetration of 23 mm is obtained in a time of 135 minutes. In Trial 3, a needle penetration of 22 mm is obtained in a time of 150 minutes. And lastly, in Trial 4, a needle penetration of 22 mm is obtained in a time of 165 minutes. Through the data that we have gathered, we have come up that the initial setting time of the sample cement paste will take approximately 129 minutes, and the final setting time of the sample cement paste will take approximately 245 minutes.
For the computations for initial time settings, we use the formula of initial time setting equals to H minus E all over C minus D times the quantity of C minus 25 plus E. Substituting the given value equals to 135 minus 120 over 28 minus 23 times the quantity of 28 minus 25 plus 120, we get the initial time settings equals to 129 minutes. And for the final time settings, we use the formula of final time equals to 90 plus the quantity of 1.2 times the initial time settings equals to 90 plus quantity of 1.2 times 129, we get the value of final time settings equals to 244.8 or 245 minutes.
Drawings and figures. You can see a scale. Scale is used to determine the initial and final contact. In other words, to determine the setting time of hydraulic cement. Below that is plunger. This is where you attach the needle. Next is Vicat mold, and this is where you put the cement. Lastly, glass plate. It helps to flatten the bottom of the mold.
Hello, again my name is Leonard De Luna and here are some possible source of error for ASTM191. First, manufacturing defect. The chemical composition of the cement changed during the production. Second, fault in testing apparatus such as wrong graduation on scale, vent, needle, and so on. And lastly, error in testing, improper handling of apparatus and improper sample preparation, etc. That's all. Thank you.
The initial setting time of concrete is the time between adding water to cement and the time when a 1 mm square section needle placed in the Vicat's mold 5 mm to 7 mm from the bottom of the mold fails to penetrate the cement paste. The final setting time is the time between the addition of water to the cement and the time when a 1 millimeter needle makes an impression on the paste in the mold, but a 5 millimeter attachment makes no effect. The initial setting time is the point at which the paste begins to lose its plasticity. The other test is critical for cement concrete transportation, placement, and compaction. The duration of the initial setting time is also required to delay the process of hydration or hardening. The final setting time is when the paste has completely lost its plasticity. It is the amount of time required for the cement, paste, or cement concrete to harden sufficiently and take on the shape of the mold into which it is cast. Determining the final setting time period allows for the safe removal of scaffolding or forms. The primary chemical reaction of the cement with water is nearly completely during this time.